So basically, the Hillside Strangler was made up.
No,
I mean,
there apparently is somewheres someone who did these, but that person is not me and it's not Angelo.
I inherited from my parents a set of genes that regulate serotonin. And so it gives, and because of that, I mean, it's very easy to predict that I would have some amount of bipolar, mostly which is up. You know, I'm mostly hypomanic, and I don't get down very much, but it's that, and also eating disorders and sleep disorder. So a lot of times, you know, your basic personality traits and those things are determined genetically, but then, of course, you can have other things that happen, both in terms of, especially early childhood, between birth and 3 years old, how you're treated, if you're abused or not.
Hey, murderphoniacs! This is your host, Tony Ciaglia, the serial killer whisperer. That first clip was the Hillside Strangler.
Yeah, fuck him.
Exactly.
I'm
right.
sorry. I started already, didn't I?
I like that. You're pretty active today, aren't you?
I feel active.
Exactly. It's 111 degrees out there.
I know. Don't remind me.
Well, anyways, that was the Hillside Strangler. Himself in the flesh. Asshole Kenneth Bianchi, even though he denies it in the clip. You know, I really don't give a fuck how much he denies it, Dan.
I hear you.
Denies it, denies it, denies it. As far as we're concerned, he is the Hillside Strangler. And when he dies, he's going to go before God as the Hillside Strangler. That was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I liked it. The second clip was Dr. James Fallon, who is a neuroscientist. Whew. That's one smart guy.
Oh, my God.
You know, I'd say crazy smart.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He really is.
And Jim is talking about how your basic personality traits are determined genetically. But when things happen, like if you are abused in any way, especially in early childhood, between birth and 3 years old, these other traits that are formed are with you throughout your entire lifetime. They can't be reversed. Kind of like genital herpes. Right?
I never thought of it.
Yeah, they don't go away.
Leave it to you to come up with that. Never thought of it.
Oh, it's a miracle I don't have it. All the places I've been, all the places I've seen.
Yeah, don't jinx yourself.
Exactly. Well, Jim is without a doubt the smartest guy we've ever encountered. Sorry, Ken. I know you're always the smartest guy in the room, but Dr. Fallon trumps you. Today, we will use conversations that we apply what he says to Ken Bianchi's childhood and let you guys be the judge. But first, everybody, I'm gonna introduce this guy. You know, you guys all know how special he is to me. He's my mentor, my caretaker.
His enforcer.
And our love is so strong, it could move mountains. the one and only, the Coxman.
Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome.
As always, thank you. You've really had some unbelievable introductions. I don't deserve that.
You do.
No, I don't.
You do.
I really should write some for you. Right?
That'd be nice.
I don't think there's enough time.
I know.
Right?
I know.
Okay.
Have you drank a lot?
Should I
Yeah, you should.
take a drink?
It's a fucking 111 degrees outside.
How's that?
I get hot just thinking about it out there.
Okay. All right. Last week, we covered the terrible effects of ABS, abandoned baby syndrome. And we know how bad Kenny's first 3 months were with the drunken sex worker, 17-year-old mother.
It's kind of hot.
You know, never picked up all the things that we went through. Now we're going to hear some of the things about the rest of his childhood, what it was like being raised by the Bianchis.
Oh my gosh. I tell you though, man, if there was any sexual abuse, I'd rather it be that 17-year-old prostitute than Francis. Just saying.
So would Kenny.
Uh-huh.
Ugh. Listen, I know some of it will be boring to you guys because you're into like the murders and get to it. But to get to that point, we have to explain what made this guy the monster that he is. And I think once you hear like Jim Fallon today and you hear some of the other things that we talk about that happened to Ken, you're going to get a real good picture as to why this guy became the Hillside Strangler. And Dr. Fallon covers this better than anyone I know. And when you do listen to him talking today, nature nurtured, he describes it better than anyone I've ever heard talk about it. Doesn't he? I mean,
he does.
He explains it, and you'll hear exactly what the differences are between a primary psychopath and a sociopath, which I never knew there was a difference, but there is. But before we get into the early medical reports, let's hear what Kenny Bianchi thinks about his mom.
Guess what, Ken?
What?
I called your mom.
Oh, yeah, Mom told me.
Oh,
She said, do you know what Tony, I had told her about you.
Uh-huh.
She forgot. And she said, yeah, she got a call from you, and she said you could call her again if you wanted to. And she said, just make sure that you say, hi, this is Tony, so she doesn't think it's a salesman or something.
Yeah, she was like yelling at me right in the beginning of the conversation because she thought I was a salesman.
Oh, yeah, because you know what? You'd be surprised how many calls she gets every day from salesmen. They must have her, all of them must have her on the must-call list, and she gets tired of these calls, being pestered by these people.
Mm-hmm, and it is a pester. They call here all the time, too.
Oh, really is and stuff, and really is. And she doesn't have the ability to set her phone where she could sort of screen those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do? But once she discovered it was you, everything was okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just remember, Tony, that she's 88, she'll be 89,
Mm-hmm.
and she has that Parkinson's, which makes her shake all the time.
Yeah.
And so she can only be on the phone for short periods and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for her to hold the handset, and I can't get her to get back to using she has a speaker on the phone where she can just push a button and hands-free, and I can't get her to do that stuff. She used to do that years and years ago and stuff, but I can't get her to do it now, so... can do.
Yeah, but for having Parkinson's, I'd say she's pretty quick.
Well, she has... I'm sorry, say that again?
I said for having Parkinson's, she was rather quick. She was good still.
Oh, and she tells it like she sees it.
Yes.
She's very plain spoken. Which some people, you know, either you like it or you don't like it, you know, but she's very plain spoken and stuff. And I said, oh, Tony's fine. He's great. You love talking to him, you know, blah, blah, blah. After she told me she got, so you can call her, you know, whenever. And I suggested...
Call early, she said.
Right, yeah, call early, but keep in mind that, you know, you may catch her when she's napping or something, you know. She gets bored and lonely, so she'll nap, and then she gets tired and she'll nap. And also, I know you're very busy on the weekends, but the weekends are her most boring and most lonely because she doesn't have the, you know, she doesn't have the helpers stopping by to, you know, to visit and see if she needs anything on the weekends like she does on the weekdays. That's her tougher time. But she enjoyed that. That was very nice. She you know, she appreciates the, you know, the somebody new to call and talk to and everything else and stuff. And I'm going to eventually, she won't call you, but I'm going to eventually give her your, I'll give it to, give her your phone number and stuff, so, you know, so anything like an emergency and stuff, she can call you, and I don't know if that's all right with you. And stuff.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, but so I'll probably do that probably sooner than later and stuff. But
okay.
She enjoyed your, you know, I know it was probably a short call, but yeah, she enjoyed your call and really appreciated the company.
I'm glad. Yeah, she said she loved me.
Yeah.
She did.
My mom, Tony, I'm telling you, my mom is a loving, caring person. She would give you, she literally would give you the shirt off her back. She's had people come over, family and stuff come over, people come over, and she'll see them looking at, like, something she cherishes, like, you know, some kind of whatever, vase or vase or whatever and stuff, and she'll give it to them. Here, you know, you like that? Yeah, you can have that. You know, she's just so generous.
That's great.
And, yeah, she's just very genuine, very, very genuine, and I miss her terribly and stuff. She's very genuine and stuff. That was very nice of you, Tony. Thank you for calling her and being yourself, and that was terrific.
Before we go on, I think you would look good with a stethoscope on. You just sounded like a doctor when you were.
Well, I am a doctor.
You are, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's where I get it from.
It is.
Exactly.
I see you have your hat on backwards. You're ready?
I'm
You're
ready
for deliveries?
Yes. Did you see me delivering babies?
Oh, man. You've showed us many times.
Push it. Push it. Oh, my God. The baby is crowning. The baby is crowning.
Listen. Did you hear Ken? He didn't sound real enthused. Yeah, like you were, hey, Ken, guess what, man? I talked to your mother. Oh, yeah, I know. He's worried. He's probably worried already.
He's worried, but you like how he took over the whole fucking conversation?
No, he did.
He did. He took on the entire... He took over and controlled the entire conversation.
And that is one of the major features of a serial killer, psychopath. They have to be in control. Doesn't matter if it's a conversation or if it's in the bedroom or if it's while they're strangling somebody. They have to be in control.
Of the narrative, completely.
Yeah. And he also said she speaks her mind. A lot of people don't know what to make of that, but she just tells it like it is. Boy, did she. with you over the years.
Francis?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, shut up. Close your mouth. Just, be subservient.
How about when you said, she actually told me, Ken, that she loved me? I think it pissed him off. I think it did.
It did. You could tell with his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mom's a loving person. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Mom's a loving person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Talking to her, right?
Yeah.
This was like a first date between me and Francis. And she's already telling me she loves me. No, and it pissed him off.
It did piss him off.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. My mom loves you, and I'm in this cell for the rest of my life. He tried to make light of it,
right?
Uh-huh.
But he wrecked the cell when he hung up.
Yeah, Kenny. That's me. I'm in control. I got the narrative, bitch.
You're on the outside.
Uh-huh.
And he's on the inside looking out.
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are up.
I am. God, you do it good. All right. Early on, there were strong indications that there would be problems. Francis said from the time he could speak, he was a compulsive liar about everything. Even the smallest things were distorted by him. And Kenny often threw violent tantrums.
Could you see him stomping his feet?
Oh, yeah. Well, just
I want it now.
Just like my brother. When he was a little fucking kid, I would fucking slap him when he was throwing violent tantrums. Smack him upside the head. I had 3 years on him, so I was older than him.
Violent tantrums.
I mean, he caught up. Nah. And, well, the fight was much more even when he got older. So I'm going to quote comments from some of Bianchi's medical reports that go through his teen years as far back as the 1950s. I'm not sure if I agree with all of this. After getting to know Frances, I know she was very high-strung, and I'm sure some of that came off as, like, psychotic. I do know she loved Kenny, right? I mean, she loved him.
No doubt.
Yes. Maybe a little too much. But she loved Ken. And I really believe she was just not equipped to raise Kenny. I don't think, she wanted a boy. She wanted her child so bad.
Yeah.
Miss Bianchi, be careful what you wish for. You agree?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You see, Ken was like buying a used car, okay? And Frances, she wasn't a fucking mechanic.
Not even close.
No. She couldn't fix him.
No.
I don't know if I buy any of the sexual innuendos, but I want to. No, I do. It's not fair. If it's not sexual, it's not fair. After getting to know Frances, I would find it hard to believe. God, because she was this little old lady, and she was so nice and like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see her jacking him off and like getting sexual with him.
Whoa.
I know.
Where did it say that?
Huh? Well, that's what I assume.
Jacking off. It always has to come in, doesn't it?
What, to jacking off?
This is his mother. Respect. Right?
Respect, yes.
I know you're reading a report, but you didn't believe it.
No, but then I said to the audience, I said, but I want to believe it. No, I
You said it's hard to believe that there was any sexual abuse going on, but then again, what?
But then again, I could be wrong.
That's all you had to say, Mr. Jackoff. Jacking off.
You're making it hard. Okay, here we go.
You had to get that in there, didn't you?
Well, I know as we've been writing these scripts.
When we rehearsed, what did we say?
My dad said this is his mother.
And I said it would be funny, but don't.
But don't.
What did you do? You couldn't help yourself.
I couldn't help myself, Dad. It's like being a little child, you know?
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah. Okay.
I couldn't help.
All right. Go on with the information. All right.
Here we go. Right. Here we go. This is information obtained by Bianchi's medical reports. In 1958, Ken is treated for urinary dribbling. See, that's
okay. You don't have to show them.
I just wanted to show you guys.
I think they understand.
Dribbling. It's the penis. You can't control it.
They understand.
Treated for urinary dribbling. Ken Bianchi was a bedwetter. Yeah, that's it. He was a fucking bedwetter. Isn't it weird? Most serial killers are.
Yes.
We've covered this before.
Bedwetters.
Bedwetters.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Art.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if your children are bedwetting, be careful. They might kill people when they get older. So, what did Mrs. Bianchi do? She would always take him to the hospital, right? The first time, a quote from the attending doctor read, "Mother needs help."
And he didn't mean help with the kid.
Not Ken Bianchi needs help. The mother needs help. In 1960, Ken begins having involuntary urination. I already showed them what that looks like.
Yes, you did.
Involuntary urination. And his mother makes him wear sanitary napkins. What is that exactly?
Don't start. Don't start. You know what a sanitary napkin is. Come on. You just...
I really don't.
Yeah.
Is it like something you would put in your underwear?
Everyone out there will know. We don't have to get into it.
Okay.
I know when you're baiting a hook. Just go on with the script.
Baiting a hook. I like that. I like that.
I know how you are.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, my dad said it.
I like you too.
I got to say it. I love you.
I love you, Bert. See, I baited the hook. I drew him in.
You did.
Yes. The relationship between Ken Bianchi and his adoptive mother was not normal. It was far from normal. Here is a quote from one of Ken's early medical reports when a nurse asked a 10-year-old Bianchi to clean himself after going to the bathroom. Miss Bianchi said, "He doesn't know anything about that. He doesn't know anything about any of this." And she didn't intend that he should take care of himself. Now, what are you talking about? Are we talking about like wiping his ass when he shit?
I would imagine. That's what it says to me.
Cleaning himself.
Yeah.
So, wow. these reports, they show a lot.
Yeah, they do.
They really do.
They really do.
Yeah. Then, almost hysterically, she stated that she would take care of him until she was physically unable to do so. Oh, my.
The plot thickens.
Yes. There is also a question regarding all of this attention to his urinary tract and manipulations of his penis, etc. What does the etc. mean? Do you know?
I don't know.
I know it's in the report.
It's in the report, but I don't know what it meant. It stopped right there.
Okay. The relationship between Ken and his adoptive mother was not normal. This, along with the mother paying so much attention to his penis and urinary practices, is quite concerning. Ken Bianchi's adoptive father passed away in 1965. What was his name?
Nick.
Nick. So
Or was Nick the new one?
I think Nick was the new one.
I don't know. Sam? I don't know.
Sam.
Sam, I think.
Sam I am.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. There is an indication of severe pathology between mother and son, with the question of sexual seductiveness, especially noted after the father's death. Miss Bianchi was overbearing, threatening, and critical of her son, and had, I love this part, and had her own needs met now with the son. You see, the husband was gone, you guys, right? The son was gone. Yet all of Francis's needs were now being met by little Kenny. Little Kenny, he's the new man of the house. And what Mrs. Bianchi wants, little Bianchi's there. You know what, guys? Out with the old, in with the new. Mother got sexual satisfaction.
Hold on a minute.
What's up?
I was supposed to read these, and Tony said, I'm taking them.
I'm taking them.
Now I know why. He said, oh, Dad, there's too much reading for you. Let me take them. Now I know why. The little tongue is out. I saw it. You think I didn't see it?
I feel like I'm in trouble.
You're going to be when the camera goes off.
I feel like I'm in trouble.
Yeah. All right. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
All right. Mother got sexual satisfaction prying into Ken's personal life. We already said it, but my. Just think, like if your mom questioned you about like your sexual life and stuff. Wow. I'm sorry. In another report from the Rochester Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, dated September 15th, 1962, one worker found the mother to be deeply disturbed person. Do you think?
Maybe. Just a little bit.
The worker felt that the mother had smothered her adopted son in medical attention and maternal concern from the moment of adoption at the age of 3 months. The worker went on to say, Miss Bianchi was unwilling to accept the possibility she, as well as the boy, might need psychiatric treatment rather than medical treatment. Right? So forget the fact that he's pissing in his pants all the time. Just kind of push that aside.
Well,
You're crazy.
I think what she was saying, the nurse here that wrote this, she kept bringing him in. I mean, he's already like 14, 15 years old here. She kept bringing him in for the urinary tract, and I think what she was saying is, you guys need help, psychiatric help to stop this. There's nothing more we can do. I believe that's what was going on. Yeah.
It kind of sounds like she suffers from Munchausen syndrome.
Could be.
You're impressed, aren't you?
I am very
You're
impressed.
Fucking impressed.
Tell them what it is.
Exactly. Huh?
I'm very impressed.
Well, see, that's the problem. I might not know exactly what it means. I can't like verbalize it. I think Munchausen syndrome is like the mother or somebody close to the patient kind of gets off on.
What? This is Jim Fallon. What? I'll tell him to stop. Yeah, I know he's not a psychiatrist. I'll tell him. Jim said, stop right fucking now.
Okay. I think I was going in the right direction, though.
I think you are.
Yeah, the mother or, they kind of get off on all the attention that their son, daughter, patient is getting from medical people.
All joking aside, you were right. You were right.
Yeah, you saw that tongue, right? You should see what this tongue can do.
Tell him what Mrs. Horton said, the social worker.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Mrs. Horton of Social Services states that Miss Bianchi has taken care of other foster children, but that the SPCC removed the children from her home. See, I had no idea about this.
She never talked about it. Never mentioned it.
No. Well,
I never knew either.
Doubt that's something she'd be proud of.
No, but it sure says a lot, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. I saw you flirting with Miss Bianchi when we were visiting her in the home.
I couldn't help myself.
I mean, she was like 90, but
I just couldn't help it.
She's good for one more go around.
Come on. What?
What? Dad, these reports, I'm not a doctor by any means, but they don't sound very good.
Do you think?
Let's hear what Francis has to say about Ken's upbringing. Who better to tell us than the woman who raised him herself, Frances Bianchi. After all, isn't she the woman that would give you the shirt off of her back? You remember Ken saying that?
That's what Kenny said.
That's what Kenny said.
Yes, he did.
Ken, yeah, remember he wouldn't tell me about his childhood, really.
Yeah.
Was it bad?
No. He had a happy childhood. He had a nice childhood. Spoiled rotten. I just wondered if he remembered any of the good times we had.
The good times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We took him everywhere. We did everything for him.
Yeah.
He tells me, I wish I'd listened to you.
We replayed it. How could we not? Did he have a bad childhood? No! No! He was. Yeah, you do it.
Can I do it too?
Yes, you do it.
No!
What was he?
Spoiled rotten!
He got everything he wanted. Everything. We took him everywhere.
We took him everywhere with us.
Little fucker. Come here, Kenny. I'll put your hand on the fucking stove. Little fuck.
That was aggressive. I don't know about you, but I'm loving it.
I think she was pretty aggressive.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
But she said he had a great childhood.
Yeah.
Who are we to disagree? Who are the doctors to disagree?
I wouldn't disagree with her. She put my fucking hand on a stove.
Fucking right she would.
Yeah.
All right. Tony covered some of what's in the old medical reports, and you can tell that many who came in contact with Frances thought she was a bona fide psychopath. Batshit fucking crazy is the term we use. You heard a few of her conversations, and we know she loved Kenny, but we also know she did some crazy shit.
She loved me too.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
But to him, she did some crazy shit, right?
Yes.
During his formative years. For example, when Frances was upset with Kenny, she used to belittle him. She used to belittle him about his biological mother. And she told him, she would scream at him, Kenny, you're just like your mother, you fucking little runt. She was a drunk. She was a whore. She was 17. She tried to sell your fucking ass, and nobody'd buy you. We got stuck with you. So shut the fuck up and sit down. That's what little Kenny used to hear. Or I'll put your hand on the stove. She was a drunken whore. Bitch. Do you understand? What do you think? You think maybe that fucked Kenny up a little bit?
I'd have to say so.
Well, when you hear Jim Fallon, when he talks about the things that fuck kids up, creates primary psychopaths, I think we can start to tie some of this stuff together.
Yes.
So she would go from a loving mom, just smothering Kenny with attention, to a strict disciplinarian, often punishing him by forcing his hand onto a hot stove. Ken would complain that his mother thought no girl was good enough for him, and they were all whores like his real mom. But at the same time, she would grill Ken on his sex life and what he was doing with his dates.
It's kind of hot.
Oh, stop.
It's kind of hot.
Stop. But she had to know because they were all like your mother. Whores. She said it many times.
Uh-huh. Now I'm going to share a letter with you that will clearly show you what we are dealing with here. Remember, last week we talked about how worried Ken was when we were going to visit his mom. Well, that was 2010. This is 2008. Why the fuck are they so worried? Huh?
Good question.
Yeah, why are they so worried? If he's so innocent, why are they worried? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think they would welcome questions.
Exactly.
Just listen to this shit. Letter dated August 31st, 2008. Dear Tony, I spoke to my mother yesterday, and she mentioned you called. Please, let me say she enjoys hearing from you. Truly, she does. She has been through hell. From the total fabrications, here we go.
Oh,
Fabrications.
unbelievable.
He obviously doesn't know what the definition of a fabrication is.
No, he doesn't.
Mm-hmm. From the total fabrications in the public regarding her role as a mother, fabrications about me and the family, reporters camped out on her property in 1979, being forced to leave Rochester, to having her home broken into and family photos stolen while they lived on the West Coast.
You know what that is, right?
That's the world's smallest violin.
Yeah.
Playing for all the Ken Bianchis out there.
Playing specifically for Bianchi.
Bianchi. Back to the letter. To having the family history probed. I like that word. Probed. Stick it. Probed. To having the family history probed by people my family members bump into.
You know, just walking down the street, boom. Hey, aren't you a Bianchi? Did he do it? Did he do it? Show me how he did it.
Show me how he did it.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And then you're the Bianchi family, right?
Yeah.
And you go down, you take your fucking shoe off, and you take your shoelace off, and you just garrote the guy. Show him. Show him.
Teach him.
Show him how Kenny did it with Angelo.
I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like that, though.
Good.
That was off script, everyone.
Big time.
A lot of this is.
Yeah.
All that has a toll. Before all this, we were a very private Italian family.
Were you?
Exactly. Yes. But my mom jerked me off. She burned my hand.
Stop.
She took me to the doctor all the time. Back to the letter. Would you please do me a favor? Mom gets nervous and suspicious when anyone asks questions about our family background. My background. She may volunteer things, but it's her choice, I guess. She asked if you were writing a book because of the questions you asked about the family. She got nervous. During an otherwise enjoyable phone conversation with you. I honor her as I did my stepdad and my dad before him. So I honor her concerns. Whether they are justified or not, when you speak with Mom, would you please keep in mind what I just shared with you? If you have questions about me or my family background, you can try me. Ask me if I am able to answer or feel comfortable answering. I will. But Tony, don't we as a family deserve to retain what family privacy remains? After everything my dear family has been through. Thank you for understanding. Dad, what do you think of that malarkey?
Yolanda Washington, 20. Judy Miller, 15. Alyssa Kasten, 21. Kristen Weckler, 20. Sonia Johnson, 14. Dolores Dolly Cepeda, 12. Jane King, 28. Lauren Wagner, 18. Kimberly Diane Martin, 17. Cindy Lee Hudspeth, 21. Diane Wilder, 27. And Karen Mandick, 22. Thank you for understanding. Understanding? No, Ken. You or your dear family don't deserve any understanding. What about the victims? What about them? Did they get understanding when you tightened that garrote around their throats and twisted it until they were dead? You think they understood that, Kenny? You little prick. And your family, their families were ruined. You ruined families for generations to come. And you know what? You never took responsibility, you prick. So, fuck you, Ken, and fuck your family. All right. That's what I felt about it.
Good job. You know, it's like, all the fun and games and humor and jokes, and
it boils down to that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were watching on YouTube, you're going to see those victims, and it's hard to even look at them. 12, 14, 15, 17, 21. They all had their lives ahead of them. And Mr. I'm innocent, he didn't do it. All right. Getting back to his younger years, there were many signs of the trouble that would follow him. Ken is a bedwetter, and that always created problems both at home and school. Kenny has moved twice from schools because he could not get along with his teachers. Of course, Francis, being Francis, and Ken is the man of the house now, believed the teachers made him nervous. Bianchi attends Gates Chili High School just outside of Rochester. Kenny was artistic and had an above-average IQ, but he was an underachiever in school. He was known as a thief, a manipulator, and a con man. It seems he didn't have many friends because he was such a narcissistic, egomaniac, fucking piece of shit.
Can you imagine being friends with him?
No, you couldn't be friends with him. Mm-mm. Relationships were always a problem. He proposed to a girl named Susan in 1969. She turned him down. Smart girl, huh? Smart girl. So he marries Brenda Beck for a few months, but she doesn't meet his standards.
Whoa, stop. What did you just say? You got to say that again, because I don't think I heard it correctly.
So he marries Brenda Beck for a few months, but she doesn't meet his standards.
What standards are those?
The man had none, but this girl was very lucky, right? And in 1971, Ken gets married again. But this time, his wife leaves him after 8 months. Smart girl. So you see how fucked up this guy was. Yes. Off the charts fucked up. Mm-hmm. It doesn't say it here, but I think he came back and asked Susan to marry him again after his second wife left. And she said, no, thank you. Yeah. So if you're listening, Susan, you are one lucky girl. Smart, too. Tony, you got to take it from here. The bile is up in my throat. I can't speak anymore.
As sexy as that sounds, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'd rather give it, though. But I'll take it. Thanks, Dad. The title of this episode is Can Bianchi Nature or Nurture? Who cares? He's a twerp. He's a piece of shit. You know, he's a parasite that feeds on a piece of shit.
Was that all in the title?
Huh?
Was that all in the title?
No, it's just Can
just
Bianchi
kidding.
nature or nurtured? Who cares, though? I mean, he's a monster.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm going to turn this over to an expert. Dr. Jim Fallon, and I want to let him explain the differences. Then we can compare it to Bianchi and the murderphoniacs can make up their own minds as to why he became the monster that he is.
So they create this other world. They got all the time in the world to do it too, and they would. It's the way you're getting even with the world too. You know, it's the way it's kind of, you know, with psychopaths, real true primary psychopaths, which are triggered at birth. You know, when you ask me about is it nature or nurture? Well, the thing is, for a psychopath, they have certain genetic wiring, but that just because you have the genetics or the traits doesn't make you a psychopath by itself, or a killer certainly. But it gives you the traits. Now, if you're treated fairly normally, have a normal growing up, then you kind of will tend to follow what you are genetically. But if you're abandoned or really abused between birth and about 3 years old, that then changes the regulation of these genes, like serotonin, et cetera. And it turns them on or off permanently. That's the problem. You know, there's a time to get mad. There's a time somebody breaks into your house, wants to kill you, you can kill them. There's nothing immoral or illegal about that. You know, there is having crazy sex. There's a time and a place for it. But it's knowing the balance between those drives, of course, and then what your orbital cortex, that part of your frontal lobe, tells you, which is where it's kind of the center of a circuit that seems to mediate moral reasoning. And if there's no moral reasoning there because of early abuse, because that part of the brain is turned off, basically for your life, it doesn't turn on at the right time. And therefore, you undergo these, what would even be normal behaviors, but at the wrong time and wrong social context. And that's what antisocial behavior is. Now, if you have these genes, like I have many of these, I'm very competitive and aggressive and all that, but I was treated really well, and they never permanently trigger, so I can control these urges, right? And but people who have had functional damage, it doesn't mean anatomical damage. You can't even see it in an MRI. But if you test it with the fMRI or PET scan, then you can see that it's not working as it would a normal person. You know, we know that when you show pictures of, school buses full of kids burning up or people getting stabbed or decapitated, that we know parts of the brains that will be activated in disgust and revulsion. And, somebody who is who's been wired as changed in their wiring from early few years of their life because of the abuse with those genes, that they don't get activated at all. So they just laugh at that stuff. And so that's different. See, that's a primary psychopath. A secondary psychopath is what we call a sociopath. Now, sociopaths and psychopaths can do the same thing. They can rape and murder and abuse people and all that, but for very different reasons in the brain. Now, so a psychopath doesn't think what they're doing is particularly wrong. They know you think it's wrong. They know it's against the law, but they don't really sense it. And it's like, people that think it's awful that if you pull into a parking lot and take the handicap spot for 5 minutes, some people think it's a mortal sin. It's awful to do, but most people go, well, that's how they feel about the violence that they do. It's kind of like, I know it's illegal, it's a little bit wrong, but they don't feel it though. They don't feel that it's like this awful, viscerally awful thing that they're doing. In a sociopath, which is a secondary psychopath, they do have moral reason. So they do know what they're doing is wrong, but they do it anyway. And they're a lot of times driven by they may have been bullied when they were 10, after they were 2 or 3, or abused or watched their family blow up. You find this in terrorists, where they're going to get even with the world. They're not psychopaths, but they can be manipulated by psychopaths as triggermen to cause all sorts of mayhem. And so they're basically young losers who are getting even with the world. That's more the sociopath. But those people can get better. With behavior modification, as they grow up, they can actually improve. Whereas right now, we haven't seen psychopaths who really can be changed by anything permanently. Everybody can change temporarily. Every few years we can watch Oprah Winfrey gain and lose 100 pounds. And everybody can do something for a little bit. But that's not the problem. It's psychopathy, which is making it permanent. So at any rate, the answer to the question of the nature-nurture, which Plato got correct, which is you're kind of born with these things, these traits, and you know certain things beforehand, is that if you inherit from your mother and father a combination of genes that wire you for, let's say, high aggression, low emotional empathy, low anxiety, there's certain combinations, then that you just have those personality traits. But if you're then abused or abandoned between birth and 3, it permanently fixes those, and that's where the psychopathy comes from, and it seems to be permanent. Wow. The big difference.
Dad,
that was something, huh?
Mm-hmm. I mean, normally I would never admit this, because I got a reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Got it going, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. It had to come out sometime or another.
Yes, it did. It was just kind of building up.
Jeez. Man.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, this is like something I would never admit because I have a reputation and everything. But all this next part, be honest, it's above my pay grade.
Why, you did good with Munchausen.
Yeah, you can take it.
All right.
I mean, you can take it.
I have to be honest, though. I listened to this, I think, 5 or 6 times before I could get it in my head.
Though,
he really explains it in a really, really understandable way.
That whole Munchausen syndrome, you don't know how many fucking times I had to rehearse that to be able to learn what it is.
Yeah?
Remember, I taught you what it was a long time ago.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Yeah, your mom suffers from that, doesn't she?
My mom.
Oh,
Mom,
boy.
He's taking digs at you.
Oh, boy. All right. I'm going to try and do the best I can because I know you guys are going to listen to it more until you understand it, but I'll give you some tips, okay? One of the things he said...
Hold on 1 second.
Yes.
My mom never drilled me about my sex life.
Are you sure?
Yeah. No, maybe my dad, but not my mom. It's like...
Okay. All right.
I would just tell Mom, you ever watch porno? Watch it. That'll tell you what my life is like. Like a sex...
Are you done? Are you done? This is hard. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. One thing he says is they all have something in common. It's getting even with the world. And if you think about that, these guys always feel wronged. Listen to Ken. They always feel that the world dealt them a shit hand. And they're going to get even. And this is something I never knew until I listened to Jim Fallon. And well, we talked to him several times, but listening to him describe nature and nurtured, there's 2 psychopaths. There's a primary psychopath, and then there's a sociopath. Primary psychopath has his genetic wiring when they're born. It's off. They inherit it from their parents, okay? But if they're abused early, like if they're abandoned or beat or whatever, from birth to 3 years old, that's when the trouble starts. That is, it can't be changed. A primary psychopath cannot be changed. It can't be reversed. So what goes on, and when you think about Ken Bianchi, think about what we know for the first 3 months, he was really, never loved, never picked up, just laid there. And then we're starting to get a little bit of a picture of what went on, even though we don't know from 0 to 3 years.
So it's like everything fell into place with Ken Bianchi.
With Ken, yes.
For the primary psychopath.
In fact, there was that series on about the Hillside Strangler, and I watched it. And it was either a detective or it was one of the doctors, said that Ken Bianchi had more traits of a psychopath than anybody he had ever seen. And I thought that was really interesting. Because it did it all. Yeah.
He's a very scary individual.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
When we visited him, we talked about the demon eyes, the black. He's just cold. He comes across warm and genuine and, oh, Tony.
Oh, yeah. And he's got that nice mustache, though.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good-looking guy when he was younger.
Yeah. Though, most women could see right through him. Phony, phony.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was Kristen Weckler. It was the one that lived in the apartment building. Mm-hmm. And she had written that. Ken Bianchi, and I don't know if she went out with him or just knew him from the building, but she wrote that, didn't she? Phony, under his name.
Oh, yeah, and he still is to this day.
Yeah, he's terrible. So anyway, primary psychopath, okay, it causes antisocial disorders. And that's a real problem, man. When you have a personality disorder, an antisocial personality disorder, it's a problem. It really is. And primary psychopaths have it. And here's an example, okay, guys? If they show you, they wire your brain up, and that, I'm not sure what the test is called, but they show you pictures of children burning in a bus, like he said, like Jim Fallon said, or somebody's head being chopped off. Most normal people would have like, oh my God, and their brain shows their reaction. But a psychopath or a sociopath, they don't have that. They react differently. They don't react. It doesn't change at all. They don't get activated.
That would be such a terrible way to live life.
Terrible way to live.
They can't love either, really.
Right.
They can't have relationships because everything is about them.
Yeah, that's right.
That narrative, we know it. We've read it. We've seen it. I've sat with it. You've
Many
sat
times,
with it in prison.
Yeah, it's very scary, sickening.
Because you're sitting there and you're looking at this guy and he's like fucking 3 feet from you. And you're just thinking, he's talking about how, he should be out, he should be out. No. Oh. I'm just a Joe Schmo and I'm sitting here looking at you, talking to you, and I can I'm trying to say.
I know.
You know what I'm trying to say?
And that's why these plea bargains drive me crazy,
They
guys.
can't get out of prison.
Because they let these people out. Look at Arthur Shawcross. 15 years, he killed 2 children. And he got 15 years, and they let him out. And what did he do? He killed another 13 people.
6 months later, right?
You just can't.
He started killing.
Same with Hansen. They all slipped through. They're all arrested. They're all plea bargaining their way through the first one. Look at Bill Bonin. Bill Bonin, man.
One of the worst monsters.
He let a kid live. For some reason, there was a survivor. He let this kid live. And he had already raped him. He had already was strangling him. And the kid went right to the police. They arrested Bonin.
He was in California.
He got 15 years to life. He got out in 3 years. 3 fucking years. And then He killed
21
He had
kids.
already killed 7 they didn't know about. He had already killed 7. When he got out, he killed another 14. So his total was 21.
Mm-hmm.
Should have never been out.
No. Look
But
this guy
anyway,
up. He's very interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
But they keep doing it, you know. They keep making these plea bargains, and these people just keep slipping through the cracks.
Lazy district attorneys.
Yeah, they want that sure thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the secondary psychopath that Jim Fallon was talking about, they know what they are, okay? They know what they're doing is wrong, and they don't care. Just because, you know, you could see like when they were doing the test, they don't care. They are void of emotions. But if they are raised properly, they can be changed. They could be saved. They don't necessarily have to go out and do the things sociopaths do. But a psychopath, a primary psychopath like Ken Bianchi, forget about it. Can't be changed. So if you inherit the genes, low emotion, low empathy, sometimes no empathy, etc., and they are abandoned and abused during birth to 3 years old, that's the primary psychopath. That's the big difference, and they can't be changed.
So you see what you just did above my pay grade. I couldn't have done all that.
Yes, you could have.
That was great.
I think you could have done it.
No, I mean, let's admit it. I'm good for fucking dick jokes and talking about like stuff like that.
I'm sorry, but who put all this together? You. Whose voice is on the phone calls? You. Who had to listen to this asshole for 7 years? And I pity you for it. You. No. All right, buddy.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, women, men, children, it's a wrap.
All good things come to an end, right?
Yeah, they all do. I mean, look at the Roman Empire. That fucking came to an end, right?
Wasn't too good.
No. Oh, boy. So please, guys, please join us next week when we reveal the demon teeth of the Hillside Strangler.
Whoa, say that again.
You want to hear that?
Yeah. What are we gonna
Next
reveal?
week, we're gonna reveal the demon teeth of the Hillside Strangler. I kind of sound like the guy in Thriller. You know, at the end of the video, the guy narrating it?
Yeah.
Exactly. Guys, love you. And thanks for following us. As always, take care, stay safe, and remember, always walk in the calm after the storm. Woo!